Okay.
Yeah. All right, well, I will call the meeting to order at 4:40.
I sent you guys revised minutes for February.
All right, and I will need an approval of the agenda. Or, I'll need a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
Second. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we're gonna move on to the minutes for January 2nd.
These are the ones that are, these are revised from what you guys had last month, fleshed out a little bit.
So January, let's see.
Is it on camera?
So I should ignore these. Any issues?
Motion to accept the minutes for January as presented.
I'll second. I don't know if you had any discussion.
No, either, there's no discussion.
Well, there's there needs to be an apostrophe,
On administration.
administrations,
Yeah.
on the second page, so I'll get that fixed.
Aye.
So with the changes, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I sent you guys February today, but I've looked at those and I sent you, and I did a real quick revision late this afternoon. I apologize, I've been out of the office until noon today.
Okay.
There's a period after Amanda on the strategic plan. Or, I mean, maybe it should be, the libraries formed a diversity committee, period. And then Amanda has
Yeah.
met with teachers in schools. On the second page.
That should be struck down.
And the period got, so that
Yeah,
there shouldn't be
it
a
is.
after me.
Right.
It had said Ms. Young, and since she's not a part of this committee, I thought her full name
Yeah.
should be on there, and I missed the period.
Okay.
Okay. I'll make the, go ahead.
Well, I need a motion, so.
I'll make the motion to approve with amendments.
Second?
Alright, all in favor?
Aye.
Alright. Okay, I do not see any, of the public here, so, move on in written communications.
I have this stuff. No, none that you're not privy to, and I don't think they're even aware of any of this stuff.
Okay. I don't know if there were. Equity, diversity, and inclusion,
I think there was one, right?
yeah,
Okay.
maybe about a book. Okay. Alright, moving to old business, equity, diversity, and inclusion
Yeah,
discussion.
I think we talked last time, we started a diversity committee. That committee is chaired by Mr. Edwards, and I don't think you've met yet, have you?
We are planning to, actually, this is an email out, so we, after the meeting that I'm scheduled, the seminar I'm scheduled, so
That's right.
next week. So we'll meet after that.
3 days?
Yes, 3 days.
See, Robert's attending a 3-day seminar in Springfield.
And so, but
On
before
this
then,
topic.
what we'll should be receiving like a graph of how kind of our makeup, our demographic makeup, with liability board and all that.
Okay.
Okay.
And I'm still hoping to get a trustee to serve on that committee.
Okay. All right, the next, public relations and marketing plan discussion.
Yeah, I told you guys I would bring you a rewritten plan, but since we are going to be meeting tomorrow, is that?
Well, I'm waiting to hear back from Jeremy, and I'm gonna have to, I was just looking to see if she had emailed me since.
I decided that if we're gonna talk to somebody outside, I'd rather do that first, than put into work or rewriting the.
She's good for, I said 4 o'clock, if that's okay with everybody, if it's,
Yeah, that's fine.
okay, is that all right?
Fine with me, yeah.
Okay, she may be wandering, I mean, I told her this place, so.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, we can find
We'll
one.
catch her.
Okay.
But typically on Fridays, this room is booked, so.
Okay, well, we'll catch her there, yeah, she's good.
So I did not have this last time, but I had gone through this, like, this is the marketing plan from 2018, beginning of 2018, so it was like really long ago. But there were objectives and things that I thought were kind of interesting. Let's see, that's just the marketing plan. They talked about a capital campaign, but the needs list is still pending, kind of, right? So, and the potential grant, so that'd be later. Then, advertising, I guess. Advertising 2 different groups, like tailor 2 different groups, like community leaders, upper middle class, non-patrons, schools, businesses, other niches, and then of course signage, which I really did like. It's,
This
but
is what we
I've
talked
already,
about with Jones and Thomas.
yeah.
Right.
So it's just kind of a reminder, because I hadn't looked at it until since then.
Alright.
But like that little, little logo at the top of the entrance, like, and then up, like, I mean, because our logo is so colorful, so, but I don't know how you do that with this building, especially since the city owns the building, but, and I
Well,
don't know.
first thing is I ask, them, any of that would be part of the space planning, because they do design also.
Right,
And one of the things that we've conveyed to the architect and design team is that we want to see our logo,
yeah,
Our light standards don't have little flag holders on them, do they? You know, how like they have down the city streets?
no,
Cause that would be
They
nice
don't.
if we had like little flags we could run down, the parking lot.
Banners or whatever.
Banners.
well, yeah, and they have, like, they change out the ones in the city,
The
like,
city changed out the
The
big
city
ones
changed
there.
Mhm.
yeah,
Yeah, but if there aren't any, there's no place to screw anything in, I don't think.
Has the finance, I mean, since they're not on my committee, has the finance and properties committee talked about that at all? 'Cause I know I brought it up about the signage and,
Well, again, it's viewed as part of that, of the
The
whole
space plan.
space plan, so I've, for like interior signage, I've authorized staff to, put up what they need to on a temporary basis, they don't invest any money in it. I don't wanna
Oh, yeah,
spend money
no.
on signage until
no,
it's.
yeah.
Until we know
Moving
what-
stuff around and
Right.
who knows what.
Yeah,
So-
just ease of use, for sure.
But I think one of the things that Jones and Thomas focused on also that's worth mentioning is that, there, it wasn't just about increasing usage, it was also about increasing donations.
Yes, yeah, and that was like the website, and that's where the needs-based kind of, like theory, I guess, or the,
Having a goal and that's
Right.
what you contribute towards, as opposed to give me money and I'll think of what to do with it.
right,
Right.
yeah. Because I mean, we all have our budgets and needs, so. The teen space, of course, which we've been talking about for
Yes.
years. So the mini library outlets, which was kind of interesting, so and it would go for the getting the, let's see, staff, so try to push people to to the library from the outside in with relevant subject matter, create many library outlets around Decatur, at the Scottsville Zoo, Arts Council, golf courses. Maybe like volunteers could, you know, and it said the Boy Scouts or the Boy Scouts could create little free libraries, like we could, you know.
There, and that's in the works. It's not from the Boy Scouts, but there's one of the West End associations is working on that right now.
Yeah, I've seen them around the West.
There's
End.
one at the Y.
But I didn't know would it be coordinated with the library? It's
Nope.
just people are doing
Yep.
it, so, I mean, maybe.
Well,
maybe we do
the thing about
coordinate.
those things, unless you're talking about events,
Mhm.
so maybe an event at the zoo,
At that,
Right.
yes.
they're prohibitively expensive.
Yeah.
I mean, that's,
The thing we could though, we talked about partnerships, I thought, with other organizations, and probably taking a mini library or having a library go to the Children's Museum and have some kind of reading program might not be a bad idea.
it's a great idea.
Yeah,
Also, trying to coordinate with the food director of Boys and Girls Club, they've got a summer reading program. And we've got a summer reading program. I mean, it seems like we ought to be working together on that rather than
Yeah.
parallel.
well, yeah, I mean, I think with the children's, well, I'm just gonna use the Children's Museum, maybe on a smaller level, you know how they have women, I'll say people have book clubs, but if you had somebody that went, there was a chapter you could read on a book, a longer book, I don't know what the age group would be, 9, 10, 11-year-olds, and you read it together with them,
Mhm.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know, but it would be a good partnership.
I think for like events,
Yeah.
special events or, every so often kind of things, I think there's some real opportunities
Or-
there.
Or you have them come here, either way.
Uh,
I think Amber Kaler would be,
oh, yeah.
So,
She would be very open to that.
and then just the social media outlets, which are, part of any advertising, but those are just a few of the like little highlights that I saw that I liked,
did we talk about having somebody in the library that would send stuff out on Snapchat and on Facebook and whatever else, Instagram, whatever, stuff that's going on at the library.
And we've got that, and I don't think we've got a Snapchat, and our Twitter hasn't had any, we haven't done anything on Twitter in a long time. I don't think I'm the last one to post on Twitter, but our Facebook page is well used, and they keep it up to date.
Okay.
Younger
Younger people tend to use Instagram.
Instagram is what we need, that's probably what we need to step up,
Mhm.
and our YouTube, honestly.
yeah,
Yeah,
YouTube,
our YouTube
because
channel.
it's just us, and, I mean, I'm there, it's just our board meetings.
Exactly.
on YouTube,
Not
and
the
it's,
most
and the
exciting
poetry.
thing in the world,
Yes,
all due
right,
respect.
so,
But if there
but,
was somebody on staff that maybe, I don't wanna make it an age group, but I would say somebody younger perhaps, that could just go around the library and do some Snapchats. Or Instagram pictures or.
Let me look into the Instagram, because I think we've kind of dipped our toe in, but I don't think we're real active there. I'm not on any of this stuff anymore. I've been done with it all for a couple of years, but,
I know, I have Instagram, I don't use
I
it,
do.
and.
I do use Instagram, that's the only one I use. I have Facebook, but I don't get on it.
I mean,
People are like-
you could do that on Facebook, like post more stuff on Facebook, like.
Well, and you can just export it to Instagram too, so it's not like,
Yeah,
it's
you
not
can go
a,
places.
it's
not
the same,
anymore.
same media, you just have to have a good picture to go with it,
Right.
so.
And I don't know, do we have rights to like take pictures of people in the library? I mean, I don't know, I mean, is it
Yeah,
okay to
yeah,
take pictures?
yeah.
Well, to me, it'd just be like a couple times a week, if there's something going on, this is what's going on with the library, and do an Instagram, maybe, I don't know.
Like a little roving reporter or something.
Yeah, I think they do a great job on the Facebook side. It's just, I think we probably need to step up the Instagram, but I'll look into that, because I know that
I forget about
they've
that.
started.
Well, YouTube would be fun too, like Katie did, like her crafts, like showing how to do like a craft on YouTube or,
Do they
any of the-
YouTube the authors at all?
Oh,
Well, see, they're running into contractual issues. They're usually not cool with that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Copyrighted stuff.
I mean,
and all
these are
that.
Well, I mean, if they're, when we're paying them thousands of dollars for that appearance, they don't want it all.
Well, I'm talking about the local authors that present their
And
books.
some of them would be happy for it to be.
And it wouldn't have to be the whole presentation, it would just be a snippet of the presentation,
Mhm.
I
right?
wonder about kind of
Something
books
like that.
between bites, that's something we'd have to talk with friends about, but, it's a consistent draw every month, and it has been for 50 some odd years.
Mhm.
I mean, you could ask the author, and he'd either say yes or no,
Yeah, and most of the time when it's an author from somewhere else, somebody we paid to come in, it's clear in the contract that you don't,
That's it.
You know,
you can't record it. But some of them are small enough, any kind of step up they get, they're happy about.
So are there any other, like Donna, did you have any requests, like, on, like, because we are, I know you probably don't know, but we were meeting with someone about advertising, the
Right,
marketing and everything.
right.
So would you have any asks, like, as, since you've been on the board for a while?
Well, I mean, if we're looking at, basically, we've got a lot of ideas floating around, and what I would be looking for with a new PR person would be flesh it out for me. What would this look like,
Right.
Step by step.
Step by
too.
step, yeah, and, because you can talk conceptually, but until you really see something, that's what you're hiring that person for.
Well, well, this is the very beginning stage,
Yeah.
so it wasn't hiring anybody.
No,
It
yeah.
was getting her ideas and seeing, I had explained to her outreach, and she's like, I'm all about outreach.
Mhm.
So it's whatever her idea is, and, I mean, I don't know, if we even have the money to contract somebody out, but if she was
It just
agreeable.
depends on what it is.
Well, it would be nice, and this would be my thing, is that she would show somebody here, maybe there's somebody on staff that could actually, put it into, like, she would lead the way and then fade out, and then
Right.
somebody would take it on.
I think that would be my preferred approach to it.
Right.
And yeah, it could be any one of, at least 4 of them jump to mind that could handle it and would enjoy it and would be good at it.
If that's what she even has in mind. But-
Right, yeah,
But this is just sort of,
exploratory
yeah,
for sure.
exactly,
Yeah.
exploratory meeting.
So I just didn't know if there's anything specific that, and she's,
Because Jones and Thomas seemed very vanilla, just kind of, was like, apple pie and mother, there was nothing you could really, other than the name change, which, but as far as like, sparking, a vision, it wasn't there, so I think that's what,
She's a little bit more creative and innovative,
Right.
I think, I mean,
I was.
that's what I would look for, to come to the table from that.
she will not come up with something like this.
No.
Right.
The Jones and Thomas
Right,
thing.
I was on a craft, in a craft group with her, and I was just amazed.
Right.
Like, blown, like.
And that's a cool kind of person, that's the kind of person who gets people excited and,
Right.
Yeah. Okay, anything else? All right,
Sounds
we'll
exciting.
move on to the next topic, or the strategic plan, and we'll probably need a motion to, unless we wanna move to take it to the full board, but like, I don't know.
There's one, I had one,
Yeah, we had, I don't, this was not revised.
This is
It's revised from the original, but it didn't have, apparently it doesn't have last month's revisions on it. I
Right.
apologize for that.
That's
But I also thought it would be important for Dr. O to weigh in again, because she felt very strongly about it. I'd like to hear her thoughts, committed before we go
Right.
full board.
right. Now, my thought, just reading it again, now that we've had a lot of things, kind of stripped out of it. I thought we should put a few more things under goal for remove barriers. I mean, we have increased the diversity of library staff, et cetera. But thinking about remove barriers, I was putting like generic things down, like improve online database services, or monitor improvement of online, evaluate increased hours of services, evaluate off-site services, which we just talked about, which will outreach, those kind of things.
but that was already on there.
Yeah, and we
Well,
took,
you
we
took it
actually
off.
took that
The
Yeah.
outside stuff, we took out.
Yeah, so that's why, and I had mentioned.
But you know what, there are other ways to, there's more than one way to skin a cat, like,
Yeah.
you know, Michael's ideas, and again, if we did it, you know, 4 events, you know, it would, not just, hey, there's a library branch essentially at the Children's Museum,
Right.
that's not gonna work, but, hey, the library comes to, the Children's Museum on a regular basis. The other thing, one of the things that is not here that we're doing now, and we talked about at the full board meeting, is, you know, we're working with the opioid center, and
Right,
we're gonna have a presence there. We're gonna have, we've got a couple of assisted living facilities, I think in Bowden's one of them, and I can't remember the other one, that we're gonna have a presence at. And that presence will be just a floating collection.
Right.
So I think those kind of things are relatively low labor and high impact.
Yeah. Well, and, I mean, that could potentially, we could potentially remove goal 3, move it to engage community. So, or,
Oh, yeah.
like this particular one, increase the diversity, could it be moved to examine practices?
Yeah, that's,
So,
again, that's you guys' call.
What did you say about 3? What did you call it? You just made it.
Get rid of goal 3.
No, you had another title, I thought, for it.
And move that one item now.
Move that strategy under one of the other goals.
Right.
And just get rid of goal 3.
Because it looks so lonely.
I know, it did, well, that's what got me thinking about it too, because I was like, and then, like, engage the community, we could bring in.
Oh, that's what I'm saying. Oh, yeah, that's.
Yeah. The other one. So the engaged community, like last community engagement, you can, like, we could potentially work on that, so like,
So we have 4 goals instead of 5.
right,
Mhm.
which I think
Yeah,
is true, I
that's
mean,
fine.
like, it's more doable.
Right. It's more.
You don't wanna have just crazy things.
I ran into one of the consultants that worked on this at PLA, and he asked me, everything he asked me about was something we had accomplished. He's like, oh, wow, that's so exciting. You know, but that was just,
I
and
mean,
it was
we've
Nick,
done
the
a
bow
lot.
tie guy.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, I had him mixed up with Stu.
Yeah.
Stu was an interesting dude too.
Yes.
But,
So should we just eliminate that then?
the remove barriers, I would say yes, we could move the,
Yeah,
increase,
under goal
move
of
that to.
examine practices.
Examine practices, like, and we could change it to, or increase, like,
We could put it at the top of the list, you know.
yeah. Examine practices, like maybe change it to how we would increase the diversity, because if you're examining practices, how are you going, like,
Or how
that
we
is
want
the
to
goal,
increase
is
it?
to increase the diversity, but examine practices.
And I'm okay with, I mean, I think we can even flesh out and add a couple more ways to remove barriers. And I think that, you know, it's good making an unpopular person, but I think Donna hit it. And one of the things is reviewing our hours of business.
And I bring it up because just Sunday, some fellow showed up at my doorstep and says, I want to lodge a complaint. It's like, the library's not open on Sunday. I'm like, well, let me tell you about that.
Was it someone you know?
Yeah, it was.
Okay.
It was.
I was like,
a-
it's just some
Wow.
stranger, like,
It
That's what
wasn't
you
just,
get when
it
you're president.
wasn't just a random person.
I'm gonna get some house calls,
No,
like.
he was talking about something else.
You know, and we did this in an informal fashion, a little over a year ago.
Right.
Because the board asked me to
Review.
look at the financial feasibility of
Yeah, I
it.
remember
And
that.
I came back and I said, I think we can do it.
Mhm.
And, but I would ask for a year to prepare.
Uh-huh.
And there didn't, at that time, there was only one board member that really seemed motivated to do that. And he quickly said, you know, if I'm the only one, I'm not gonna push it, so.
So,
And
I
you-
guess, like, can we do some kind of, I mean, I know, like, a needs assessment.
Well,
Like, I mean,
here's what you gotta avoid, and I talked about this at that very meeting. if you put out a questionnaire saying, should we have Sunday hours, they're gonna say
Well,
yes.
that's not.
99% are gonna say yes.
Mhm.
What you have to do is say, the library is considering these 3 initiatives. Which one would be most important to you?
Yeah.
Or 4 initiatives or whatever.
That's right.
Yeah.
But-
I don't think that there's, because they're all, if say, hey, would you like the library to be open till 9? They're gonna say yes. You know,
Oh, yeah,
because it's no, they think it's no skin off their nose when, but it actually is. I mean, it costs money.
Right.
But, now, I would have to review it again and see, because we've taken some of that money and invested it in staff and stuff, but it may be that we can still do it, maybe that.
Well, what we're talking about though is this, correct? I know we're talking about hours, but are we going to remove this barrier, are we gonna remove this or keep it in?
We're dithering right now.
Yeah, I mean, are there any other barriers that,
Yeah, we just need to identify, if there are, we just need to identify the barriers and leave it in.
Right.
right? I mean, the barriers that I talked about last time was if people don't know about our services. But it can be taken care of through this one over here, which is create a public relations and marketing plan to increase awareness of the broad array of available library services. So, like, if we wanted to add that to remove barriers to, by creating a public relations policy, like, or remove barriers of community members not knowing our services.
But then where are you gonna put the hour, to be open more hours or whatever? I mean, where are you putting that? We could probably keep this category and try
Yeah, that's
two or
it.
3
That's
things
kinda what
into
we were-
it.
Yeah, that's kind of what we were talking about.
Yeah.
Like, if we want to keep it and add more back to it, or
Right.
if we want to remove it completely and just move them to other categories.
I think give that some thought. And
I would too, I would say we don't eliminate it for now.
So,
You've got the opening hour or the,
I could do some research on just what are potential barriers to library use.
that would be good if you would come back with something like that.
The off-site services, we had that in here someplace, where the heck was it?
Well, it was here, offsite services was remove barriers, right?
Yeah, it was.
It was under
I believe so. Yeah.
Because we talked about,
but if we were talking about like nursing homes and,
Well, but that's not, what that is more of an outreach. I see that more as outreach. So when we say, so like, in library language, the word outreach means taking your service to someone else, the actual service. And, but what we were looking at under this one, I can't remember how it was worded, but it was about remote locations.
oh,
So,
okay, yeah.
it's not that anybody can walk into the opioid center and check out a book. It's we're gonna have books for those patients to check out.
Right.
yeah, this was more like bookmobile stuff.
Right, exactly. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I just didn't have the original, so I didn't remember what it said, so that makes more sense. Okay, do you have that note to,
Yeah,
Come up with some more
okay.
barriers.
And, I was gonna say, my last 2 comments were in service and resources. So, like, taking out the first, like, 5 words, so advanced teen service or possible, like, development of an ongoing teen advisory group, like, just make it more of an action, just because,
Yeah, there you go.
like, we do need a teen advisory group, because we need teens to tell us what they need. Like, we can't tell them what
and I was
they
gonna
need.
send an email today to the point person on that to see where we are, give you guys an update, and we might do it.
And, I mean, we are to create, create an, let's see, create an engaging teen space, innovative teen programming and or increased teen.
Just revise just wordsmith it kind of to make it
Yes.
more action.
Yes,
Do you want to split the first sentence into 2 different bullets? Develop an ongoing team advisory group, create an engaging teen space, 2 separate things or just one? Didn't you have?
it's all one word, it's all one sentence, basically. I mean, I don't know, you can work with it and see what you can work with.
Yeah, and we wanted to also put something about early literacy on this one, didn't we?
I,
as well about reading, yes, I think you're right.
Was it for children or teens?
I think that was for children.
Okay.
It was like,
Yeah, no, I mean, under this goal is when we.
right.
So,
I thought it was for teens, but
yeah, I don't know if it was.
That was so
I
teens,
don't know.
about helping disadvantaged readers by allowing them to read, kind of like expanding paw prints to a slightly older age group.
Mhm.
It's not really teens, it's kind of in between little bitties.
tweens.
Tweens, exactly.
Mhm.
Tweens.
Okay. And then my number 5, working in partnership with other community providers. I had given Rick some like stuff I got from Champagne's library. And they had a lot of programming on how to like improve your resume and like, so it's like job development. And it could even be just like a season type thing. So it would be like, but it would be helping some.
We have some programs for, that
And I have
folks can
seen
use for
some of
that.
those, but-
Winway is pretty good.
So maybe we can include that somehow in here, like, because we are already working in partnership with.
Yeah, I almost felt like this one was a checkoff, you know?
Right.
One that can be checked off. I mean, I feel like, you know, we've got the partnership with Workforce Investment Solutions. We do provide, computer applications that help people with cover letters and resumes. I mean, if there's other things we can do, then yeah, yeah, that's just workforce, it's not economic development.
Mhm.
Right.
You know, our economic development tools, nobody liked, except for the Economic Development Corporation, and they didn't want to give us any money for it, they were the only ones using it, so.
Yeah. So it's just kind of seeing what other options we have available, maybe for improving, you know, our jobs.
So leave it on, even though we have done a lot of work in that area.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if we can make it into some, because it's, I would say it's recurring, because we're always going to have, you know, people that are seeking jobs, and it's going to be a need in the community always, really. So I don't know how to make it, can we make it more of an ongoing type thing?
Or
instead of
maintaining
working?
partnerships, I don't know.
Because I don't know if I want to
Maintain,
focus on the
increase.
partnerships,
Maintain and increase,
or switch it around, like,
maintain and expand workforce and economic development services and resources.
like maybe switch to expand workforce and economic, switch it and then do partnership last, because we already do the partnership, so it's not as important. That makes sense.
So move the first phrase
Yeah.
to the end.
Expand workforce and economic development services and resources, all, and I mean by,
And
you
continue
could say
to
by
work.
working in partnership with our community,
Yeah.
by working in partnership with other community providers, because I mean, we are gonna need professionals, like, to
Right.
help, so it's, and it would, I mean, maybe it's seeking help from those corporations, or, you know, our biggest, you know, jobs in town. So, and then I have 2 more, sorry. One is programs, or not programs, but like, the computer programs that we have, like, what do we have that other people don't? Like, what do we have that people, and what can people use? So, like, Adobe, like, where you can modify PDFs, like, not everybody has that. You have to pay for it, it's a paywall. So if somebody comes and uses our computers, what do our computers have that their computers at home don't have? So thinking about that in a different way. And then facilitate conversations in the community on needs in our community. So I guess like, in the community, you know, so I don't know how to say that, but that was just a thought that I had.
Facilitate community conversations.
Yeah, on needs. I don't know, that was my 6 o'clock in the morning thought. Hadn't parsed it out, I guess, yet. Were there anything else? Are we okay with some of the changes we talked about?
I'm good with it. Make a motion to table, what are we doing?
Strategic
Table
plan.
the
Strategic plan, yeah.
strategic plan.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
And this is- okay, now it's the drug and alcohol-free workplace policy. Anything specific? I had a few, like,
I still don't, have not, got with the city to see what, you know, as far as the procedure of testing somebody, how that would work. So I need to get that worked out before we can,
The supervisor takes them to a test, like St. Mary's or someplace.
Yeah.
That's usually standard, you know, having worked in that area a lot.
Since it's under the city, I think.
yes, well, we've got, I mean, you know, we've got this strange relationship
No, no.
with the city that,
Right.
so we use, there is what's the medical facility out there that,
22nd.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we use those.
22nd, well,
Work, yeah.
for drug, for our drug
Yeah, like that.
testing, that's for our pre-employment drug screening, and,
A lot of people use those.
that's where when they've taken me, when it's been years ago, when I knew the CDL, you had.
Right,
right,
right.
yeah, you gotta,
Yeah.
so, I still have to get that clarification, I'm sorry, I plan to have that done in, illness reared its ugly head.
So,
I had I had a couple of questions. Well, the first thing was the on-call thing, you know, we talked about that before. I thought, does on-call really apply to the library?
It probably doesn't, but what, I guess our thinking was, what if it, at some point it did?
Like, to me, on-call applies to somebody who is coming in to drive a CDL vehicle, someone who's coming in to provide life-saving services.
And I'm happy to get rid of
And
that.
somebody's coming in
I think we
to,
talked about this
you
or
know,
something.
work with hazardous energy or
the
something.
the only two that are technically on call are these guys.
Right, but they aren't, usually that kind of on-call is not like,
Yeah, it's not, it's
You're
more of an
gonna come in
on-call where
and
it's,
provide, you know,
hey,
do
this
CPR
happened,
on
what should we
somebody or
do? Not
something,
a,
yeah.
and, not to, you know,
So I thought maybe that might go.
Okay, so find
The
out
other,
that.
and the other one was, let's see, very big one was on the second page of, I guess this is the policy. It says, factors that may be considered include information obtained from a reliable and credible source with personal knowledge that has been independently corroborated. And I think the library should take that out, because like Ameren does that, but Ameren's got people driving up and down alleys, and if somebody calls in and says, hey, there's this guy in an Ameren truck, and he looks.
more at stake.
Yeah, exactly right. You're out in the public. The library people are not out in the public, you know, they're right here. So, to me, this would turn into a gigantic, I saw somebody on Facebook, blah, 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 you know, that kind of stuff, you know.
Well, I thought the introductory language sort of made it okay to leave in. The introductory language being factors that may be considered, include, but are not limited to, any of the following alone or in combination.
Well, and they are in the public. I mean, like, most of them, not, I mean, like,
On the
probably
property
half
here.
of it, yeah.
But on the property, I'm
But
talking
there's not a
about.
public safety, there's not a
Right.
public safety
I'm not
issue.
Right,
talking
it's
about
not
what
public
somebody
safety.
did at the bowling alley, you know, at Mary Jane's birthday party or something, you know.
Oh, yeah, and what you do off-site
Is not
is not,
covered, okay.
no, that's
Okay.
what you do in your own time, is what
Okay.
you do in your own
That's what I
time.
was worried about, you know, that, you know, the kind of stuff we've been subject.
Well, and again, these are pretty
you know.
complex policies, but I thought, you know, the city's old policy, I once brought in front of you guys, and I didn't like it, and neither did the board, and neither did the one city person on board, but they've since been revised, since the, you know, marijuana laws changed, and kind of everybody had to.
Right,
I think these are,
they're much better.
yes,
Yeah,
I think
much
these
better.
go a long way
Yeah.
towards solving
Right.
the concerns that I have.
Right.
So,
And the other last thing I had was employees must notify their supervisor of arrest, blah, blah, blah. Basically, this turns into DUIs.
Mhm.
So if you have a CDL, you have to come in and tell your boss that you've got a DUI.
it's certainly worthy of discussion. I mean, you could argue that it's not.
Well, what if they're selling drugs?
Well,
I mean,
yeah, but
seriously.
in my experience, the things that usually happen are, I mean, time and time again, are, guy comes in and says, I got a DUI, you know, and then that affects, you know, has for like bearings on his CDL and stuff and all that kind of thing. You know, the part about telling your boss that you're taking some kind of drug, I mean, we could probably look at that, you know, I mean, and
Yeah, I think that was-
CDLs, we have to do that.
Yeah, I think that one's pretty necessary, because if somebody's around here acting strange, or differently than usual, and there's a medical reason
Right.
for it, it'd be
I'm
best
taking
for us to
some
know in
opioid
advance.
because I've got severe sciatica or something like that, which I had that happen with people before.
But I think, yeah, I mean, you've got a good point about the other one, but
So if they're arrested for selling drugs, it's okay.
No, I didn't say that, but this, what this turns
But
into.
that would cover that, right?
It covers that, it does.
But that employee doesn't have to come in and tell anybody they had a DUI.
Employee
Unless
must
they-
notify their supervisor of any arrest, conviction, or relevant plea, including blah, 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 relating to drugs or alcohol. That's
yeah, I mean,
different.
according to
That's
this, they
different.
would have to cover tell us if they.
Why
had
take
to.
out the alcohol?
But it doesn't mean that we would have to take action on it.
That's true.
That's where it,
Is that typical where you go and tell your employee that you got, or your employer that you had a DUI? I mean, I don't know.
At Ameren it is, it's required.
I know, but you have drivers,
Right,
right?
right.
I'm just talking about in a
In
normal,
general, I don't think so. I mean,
Only
Is that
here,
something you
only
can
time
ask?
we've had at least one or two cases where, but it's because they couldn't do their job, you know, it's.
what was their job?
Driving.
well.
You mean like for the
Right.
bookmobile or something?
Bookmobile
Right.
and drive, like van
Exactly.
driver, so when they, you know,
Van driver for,
it was a delivery van driver, we used to have, they'd come and deliver.
we don't do that anymore.
Right, right, so we don't have those jobs anymore.
Right,
Is
right.
that
So-
something you could ask, like? say,
But we're not gonna have
here?
anybody deliver books to, we're having somebody deliver books, correct?
here's what might be the, well, no, they're coming and picking them up.
Oh, they are, okay.
Maybe the next step is that, I have not run this by Chris. I mean, I
Right,
take
right.
it that it's
Exactly.
completely legal because
Yeah.
of course Wendy's looked at it,
Right.
and I'm sure, on the other hand, we're not delivering the same services that the city of Decatur
Maybe
is.
we can
We're
take
not
alcohol out.
clarifying.
Right.
So, yeah, we could, I mean, I could go either way, I just wanted to point that out, that that's what that, to me, that would be the most likely thing that's gonna happen, is somebody is going to be required by the policy to come in and tell you that they got a DUI.
But this, if you worked at Ameren, even if you worked at a desk job, you would have to tell your supervisor,
No.
correct?
No.
Why not? Because it says it covers everybody.
Well,
Employees, it doesn't say certain employees, it
Well,
says employees.
this one, you're right, this, and that's my point on
Yeah.
this one. This
But
one,
yours says anybody with a CDL or
Right.
drives on a company
right,
business.
I mean,
I
if
can
I,
say from
Like
experience
relevant.
that Chris is probably a good idea because we actually had a case where it was it was a library or driving, but it was accused of an action that was considered criminal. And so the library acted, and there was a lot of things that happened afterwards. So, the attorneys got involved and all that, so it's probably, council is probably,
they should look at it, yeah.
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 That might be helpful.
Like I said,
Yeah.
I'm sure Wendy's gone over this with a fine tooth comb, but would they provide a different set of services than the library
Right.
does? So maybe it is best for Chris to look it over.
Yeah, because all their employees don't drive either.
Because
That's
the
true.
DUI is.
Yeah, and this is their policy, I mean, almost verbatim.
Well, and we're a city government organization as well, so it's not,
I mean, and I
There
think
are
people
any-
come in, I mean, where this is a drug policy, so this doesn't really apply to other, because the CDL goes into like felonies and all that kind of stuff. And so you might have people that have to come in and say, I've been charged with domestic abuse, that kind of stuff.
so mine was, definitions, substance was spelled weird. There's like a one in it, at least the copy that I have. Into definitions, 2.1, like right in the middle of the page. At least the one I have.
Mine's,
Mine's
Something.
I don't know, you printed this is the one that you printed out.
This is, one of them is the,
Where's the?
Oh, that's on the
This is the
procedure, that's on the
procedure.
procedure.
Right.
Okay,
Oh,
I was looking at that,
Sorry,
they look very similar.
They do.
You know, and to me, that was a little
yeah.
confusing.
sorry.
But
Yeah, we went from a PDF to it's, yeah, I'll get that fixed.
Right, right. I did like the little checkbox, the little thing on the end, which was very helpful.
Yeah, I thought it was very good, and it kind of takes some of the guesswork out
Right.
of it, and, you know, hard to say, oh, you're picking on me or whatever, when
Right,
you go through
this
this.
is what we're looking for.
This is what we go
Very
through.
clear, yeah, to me, that's a good idea.
So I had a question on what about if they show up intoxicated, because it says like while on site, it says while
Where?
performing job duties, I'm just asking in
Well,
general.
where are you?
I'm on procedures, I'm still back on the,
Or was that kind of check, are we on the front part of the?
I don't think I ever got, I don't think I got this ahead of time, so that's why. Because it wasn't in my packet.
This page over.
That's fine. So I'm on the procedure, sorry.
Right, right.
If that's what I had. So if, in the procedures 3.1, if they show up intoxicated, like if they arrive to work intoxicated, I know it's while performing their job duties, but like it's from, so there's the,
As soon as they get on the property, they're
Yeah,
considered.
so-
Well, it says, okay, you parse that sentence, it says, if the supervisor has reasonable suspicion to believe that an employee has been using, right there, it tells me that if you show up drunk,
yeah,
you know,
okay,
it
that's
just
fine.
has been.
Yeah, it
It
is.
is under the influence of alcohol.
Or is under the
Right.
influence,
Sure.
or
That
is
means
consuming.
Showed up drunk. Hungover, whatever. Showed up drunk.
Yeah, that's fine. And then who's HR?
Yeah.
That one
And that's-
was the question.
And that's what I've got to find out, if we can use them for this, but I,
It's
but,
3.3, I'm
but-
like, I don't know about that, so. Because it's the police command officer, the human resources.
yeah, and that's what I've got to, that's my bad for not getting that finished,
That's
but I
fine.
will get that done.
And then it seems like there's too many transports in the last sentence of 3.3 on the procedures. The supervisor will transport in a company that will employ for the appropriate test and transport, or arrange for transportation for the employee. I think there's just an extra and transport.
Or,
Because they
No,
will
no,
transport.
it's two different things.
They are.
Supervisor will
It is
transport,
different, yeah.
supervisor will transport and accompany an employee for the appropriate test, and transport or arrange transportation home.
Oh, okay.
So, two things.
So,
Yeah.
maybe a comma?
or something.
I don't know, I feel like they're two different,
Transport.
they're two different things, but I was confused because I don't know, I just obviously did not read that
They
right.
put a comma after test, and
Or
then.
Yeah,
just
that's
put the
okay.
supervisor in twice. The supervisor will transport an accompanied employee to the appropriate test, period. The supervisor will transport or arrange for transportation home. To me, that makes it very, very clear.
Maybe two sentences.
Two sentences.
Mhm.
Yeah.
What is the appropriate action? I mean, is it like running the procedure, you know, like, so it says appropriate action, it just feels kind of vague. Like, the appropriate action instead would be completes the reasonable suspicion checklist.
Which number?
On 3.4, sorry,
The appropriate action.
can be taken.
There's that, identification. That's a good point. Let's see.
Well, I think then it goes to penalties, you know.
Policy. This is the procedure. If there is evidence,
So,
you're right.
this is
We
saying,
should spell out exactly what that means.
yeah, so this is saying consequences, right? Is that what you're saying?
That's what I took it to mean.
Okay, when I
What?
just took it to be kind of like, and I don't know if it's because it's after.
So this is after the test,
This is
okay.
procedures after
The
the
appropriate
test.
action can be taken, like send them home without pay or whatever.
Yeah. Like, just be a little bit more clear on what happens, and run that through Chris too. What can we do?
What is the appropriate action?
Yeah, I think that's the whole,
like, yeah. The employee will not be allowed to return to work the next month while, I would say, while the results of the drug and or alcohol test are pending, just because, like, pending the results.
Right.
I mean, I don't know how long it takes, I don't think it
They're
takes
usually
very long.
paying them while they're waiting for that, you know, but.
Yeah, like, I mean,
yeah, it didn't take long.
yeah, so,
Is this the cities as well? And then,
and then the last sentence, it says ensuring, it should be N-E-N, right?
Last sentence,
all department directors.
I think it should be in.
Mhm.
Should be I-N or E-N?
I think it should be in.
Oh, that's what I thought too.
So in this
Yeah.
case, it should
For
say
ensuring.
the library director. Is that, I mean, right, because this is.
Yeah, I probably wouldn't want the department.
Right.
heads,
You want to say the library director.
Well,
I thought we said that in the other, on the other document, but.
Well, because we had decided who HR is, or, you know, who's the final decider, I guess. Okay,
I'll bounce it off Chris, both these documents off Chris, and with your concerns noted.
what is this?
That's Matt Wilkerson saying where's the I?
Yeah, that was
noticed it
what that was.
myself.
Oh, okay.
Matt converted it from a PDF to a Word document that I could work in, and
No, okay. I was
so
like,
actually I edited the PDF in Adobe and it looked all weird afterwards. So I
Yeah,
said,
sometimes.
can you make this now look right? And this is what I got back from it.
Okay,
There is no I.
okay.
This is
I think the I was something that was specifically about people driving, so I just took it out and didn't automatically, like Word would automatically
renumber it.
read, yeah.
Okay. So should we table this until we talk to Chris?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right.
I'll make a motion to table the drug and alcohol procedure, what is it?
Items 4 and 5.
Items
Yeah.
4 and 5, to table items 4 and 5.
Done, second, all right, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, any other new, old business, or? No, okay. New business, FOIA report?
We've had one FOIA since last we met, from a new person to us, person new to us. In other news, there has been a PAC complaint filed when our most frequent requester, when we informed him that we were treating him as a recurrent requester based on more than 50 requests in the last 12 months. He filed a complaint with the PAC. And so that is being reviewed by the PAC now. Our attorney has responded to it yesterday. And there's not a whole lot at stake here. If they say, well, you can't call him a recurrent requester, then he's just not a recurrent requester.
Okay. Cool, personal update?
We are, we chose a person to build a halftime page from the registry. She declined. The next person looked like we couldn't reach an agreement on hours worked, or where is that?
She's she was supposed to call her, I guess, today. I haven't heard back. I just
So-
find out.
We're down to the second person, and if we can't come to terms with her, then we've got one more person on the registry, I believe, too.
Possibly.
Okay.
Okay.
And testing for the library assistant position will be next week.
At the 12th, yes.
Okay. All right, any other new business? Okay, seeing no other new business, can I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.